If only there had been somebody, some kind of movie expert out there who could have possibly told us that the Nintendo Cinematic Universe was this huge thing and that it wasn't a one-off Mario movie.
Then eventually what they want to do is bring these movies into an NCU style format, just like with the MCU, where the Avengers tie all of this together and you begin seeing crossovers. But to start off with, they want to do these films separately so that they stay unique and exciting to people who love those franchises all by themselves.
The NCU, the Nintendo Cinematic Universe. We're going to see them all.
Surely there was somebody out there on the web who was explaining that even Disney needed to be worried about this Mario thing, this Nintendo thing.
Well, folks, buckle in and get your power-ups ready. The Nintendo Cinematic Universe is on the way. It is closer than you think, and the Mario Brothers movie may in fact be the biggest animated film of 2023. Look out, Disney, look out, everybody else. It's coming.
If only there had been somebody who maybe could have explained that this Mario movie was so big that it could even be the biggest animated film of all time.
And guess what? Those theater owners, they've gotten a little tired of movies underperforming from Disney, but Mario, oh Mario, he's making them say, wahoo! And you're not going to believe how high the projections are starting to go. Now Universal is starting to wonder, could they actually have the high score?
Huh, not bad, eh? I said that they would be making a Zelda movie. They're making a Zelda movie. I said that the Nintendo Cinematic Universe was a real thing, that it was on the way. I said it before anybody had even used the term. It's on the way. I said day one of this channel coming into existence on January 1st, that Harry Potter was being rebooted. The kids were being recast. People said, surely not. It's impossible. It's happening. I said that Rey was going to be returning to Star Wars. Daisy Ridley returning once more. Broke it with Echo-based network right here on this channel. Well, that got announced at Star Wars Celebration. I said that Hugh Jackman was coming to Marvel. He was going to be joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe. 3 weeks later, it happened. I'm not here to try to toot my horn. I'm not here to try to be braggadocious, perhaps. I just want you to know, when I say that I'm explaining entertainment and keeping you ahead of the culture curve, I truly am trying to keep you ahead of that culture curve. I hope that I have proven to be a trustworthy source for you so far. And I expect all of you to hold my feet to the fire when it comes to that. This past weekend was a big deal for prognosticators of entertainment. Some people got things right, whether it was Star Wars Celebration or whether it was the Mario movie, and some people got things really, really wrong. I now want to explain to you why the Mario movie is, well, it's a game changer for all of entertainment. It's not only a game changer for entertainment, but it even goes beyond that. You're not going to believe how big all of this is. Before we dive into this huge topic, if you like content like this, consider clicking the like button. Share, subscribe, and you can stick it to the algorithms. When you click it, we're talking about the notification bell. Memberships are open if you're interested in member-exclusive stuff. You'll love it. And the Pro Show is live Thursdays, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, so let's start off with an article from The Hollywood Reporter. Now that the dust has settled, now that we know just how big Mario is, although they are not fully explaining how big this movie is. I'll tell you about that in just a moment as well. This is by Pamela McClintock. And by the way, I like Pamela McClintock. She does a very good job in her articles almost all the time. Box office, Super Mario Brothers opens to stupendous $204.6 million in U.S., record $377 million globally. The movie scored the top global launch ever for an animated pick and the second best ever domestically. Ben Affleck's adult skewing drama Air opens to $20.2 million in a win for Amazon's foray into theatrical. Now, you'll note, I don't know anybody else who said that the Mario movie might be the biggest ever. But I said in that one video that you've already seen that this could get the high score. What I meant by that is exactly what you probably thought I meant by it. Universal was looking at the numbers a week out And despite them wanting to be very careful, everything was lining up for this to potentially be the biggest animated feature film of all time. It's going to get bigger. We'll talk about it. Talk about next level business. Illumination and Universal's Nintendo video game adaptation, the Super Mario Brothers movie, shattered all expectations except for mine and yours if you watch this channel, and broke numerous records in its box office debut over the long Easter holiday weekend. The pick scored the top opening of all time for an animated film with $377 million in worldwide ticket sales. The massive 5-day domestic haul is $204.6 million, including $146.4 million for the 3-day weekend, while the overseas tally stands at $173 million from 70 markets. This is key. So let's get down to this. What you need to know is that they are underselling how big this movie is because this is not truly a worldwide rollout. This is huge, right? This is breaking all the records when it comes to top animated feature films. It's doing so without its second biggest market. Yeah, I said that. Japan is going to be massive. Mario and Nintendo come from Japan, and Japan takes great pride in this property. They love it. They love everything Nintendo, and they are going to rally behind this like you won't believe. And it's not coming out in Nintendo for 2 more weeks. It's also not coming out in South Korea for that same amount of time. This is not a full worldwide rollout. This is going to get much, much bigger. This movie is going to continue steamrolling like you would not believe. Mario, which creates an instant new film franchise, glad they've caught on. I don't think they've realized it's a cinematic universe quite yet. Shattered numerous other records, including landing the top opening ever for a movie based on a video game, and the top opening of 2023 to date on all fronts after surpassing Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The secret sauce. They're going to tell us now. They didn't know what it was before, but by golly, they'll tell us now what it is. The PG pick is appealing to both families and general audiences, reflecting the appeal of the wildly popular multi-generational game. Go figure. On the general audience side, a whopping 60% of ticket buyers were between the ages of 18 and 34. The mega opening wasn't the only significant note of Easter weekend, but trust me, it basically is. Let's go down to this next part here. The records don't end there. It landed biggest 5-day launch in history after besting Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. It is the best ever opening for Chris Meledandri. Chris Meledandri. I don't know why I couldn't say that for a moment. Illumination, home of Despicable Me and Minions, and the top opening of 2023 to date. Crowds turning out for the comedic adventure romp, which follows Brooklyn Brothers and Plumbers Mario by Chris Pratt and Luigi Charlie Day as they're transported to the magical Mushroom Kingdom world, didn't seem to care about so-so reviews. Instead, moviegoers bestowed the film with an A cinema score. This is one of the biggest box office overperformances in recent memory and is absolutely shattering all pre-release projections. Well, except for what you saw on this channel. Says ComScore analyst Paul Degarbadian. You know what? We'll go with it. There's enough multisyllabic names for one article, eh? Mario officially says game over to the video game movie adaptation curse. Now, that's not really fair. That curse was put under by Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, let's talk about that one right now. Until now, the only other big success story among video game adaptations has been Paramount's Sonic the Hedgehog series. In terms of openings, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was the previous opening crown holder with a $72 million debut. Now, just as I said, also, Dungeons & Dragons, same demographic it's aiming for. That is people who love video games, and it's been wiped out by Mario. John Wick 4 continues to do okay, had a stellar first weekend, but now just okay. And it'll continue to do just okay, I think, which will be enough to make that be a highly successful film. But it's not fighting for the same demographic when it comes to the Mario movie. Now, there are a couple of things that I want to address before we go on to the next article. First of all, I have seen it said that this Mario movie and the results that it's garnering are the result of the culture war and of conservatives taking a stand that they are going to support Mario en masse and they are going to fight the fight against Disney. And I just think that's a bunch of bunk. No, this is actually much more broad than some sort of crazy culture war and conservatives. This is the sensible center. This is the market at large speaking loudly and saying that divisive content, ideological content coming out of Disney is not going to be successful. They cannot create light years, turning reds. They can't create strange worlds and be successful. And they have gravely damaged the Disney name. However, the idea that Mario is a conservative film is incorrect. That doesn't mean that conservatives don't enjoy Mario, and it doesn't mean that they're not rallying behind the movie as it puts forth more traditional values and ideas. But the truth is that Mario appeals to everybody. You don't reach these kinds of numbers unless you have broad appeal. And that's simply because they've decided to get away from stupid. Disney has been associating itself with stupid, trying to push very divisive content and thinking that they can socioculturally engineer society to like their stuff. And Mario just comes out and says, no, we're going to adhere to the traditional Japanese values that Westerners once enjoyed. And boom, the market responds resoundingly and says, fantastic, we love it. Another thing that I want to address is this idea that Chris Pratt is somehow not a big movie star. I can't believe I'm having to address this, but there are some YouTubers out there saying that Chris Pratt somehow is fading. They've attacked him now for months over this Mario role. They've attacked him for a long time over a number of things, including sliming him over his Christianity. That's ridiculous. Listen, Chris Pratt is now the voice of the biggest character in animation. Stop. That is a huge accomplishment. He is going to follow that up with perhaps the last successful Marvel movie for the next year and a half, that being Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So Chris Pratt's in a great position. He will get plenty of new roles based on this. And he has a decade plus of playing Mario to sustain him if he wants. Now, there's another part of this. We go back to the Sonic thing down here, where it talks about the Sonic film. And, you know, Sonic made significantly less so far than Mario, and it'll come in way less. But there's no need for there to be any kind of rivalry between Sonic and Mario. That hasn't existed in the games for like 21 years. When it comes to the movies, Mario owes much to Sega and to Paramount and all those who worked on bringing Sonic to the big screen. Because, believe it or not, folks, if it were not for that first Sonic movie, we probably wouldn't have this Mario movie. The first Sonic movie showed that if you listen to fans and you stick with the source material and you actually care about what the customers say, then you will be rewarded resoundingly. The Mario film then, Nintendo decided that, hey, you know, maybe the time is right. And they come forth and they do this and they leverage their strength with a studio to say, we're going to do it the way that we want to do it. We'd love to have you as a partner. And now, boom, here's Mario doing the same thing. And this is going to raise all of the boats on this tide. That is, I fully expect to see even more Sonic material coming out and doing even better as people begin to realize that video games are a huge source of material. As we've said before, the Western IPs, that being intellectual properties, are damaged. But the Japanese properties are not. They're not because they haven't been put through this crazy socio-political ringer that we've been doing to all of our content. And so companies are seeking out now stuff like Mario and stuff like Sonic because they're not damaged. We also need to address just how big this is, and people are not understanding just what a huge thing we're watching. You see, it's not just that we are seeing a movie explode and take over. It's that this is a film that starts a cinematic universe. We'll actually be talking about that more later this week. I will be going into what I have been told is the roadmap for at least, I guess, what you would consider phase one. I don't know that they're dividing it up that way. Then you might say, well, Pro, you know, why would I care about rumor and speculation you would provide? Well, go back to the front of this video and go back. In fact, go look at all of the rumor videos that I've done. There's a playlist on my channel. Go click on rumor. You're going to find that of the 50 plus rumors I have put out there in video form, 2 have not been correct this year so far, and they have something in common. But the Nintendo Cinematic Universe is going to put Illumination, Universal, and Nintendo in the driver's seat for a decade or more. Disney is out now. This is a seismic shift in the market. Disney has been the top dog when it comes to family entertainment now for decades. Multi-generational ownership of this market. And Nintendo has just stepped in and walloped them. They have no answer for this. None. Nada. Zip. There is nothing that will beat Zelda. There is nothing that will beat Yoshi's Island. There is nothing that will beat Metroid. There is nothing that will beat so many of these Nintendo properties. Illumination can ride this thing as long as they want, so long as they continue to create fantastic content. But I do want to examine just how badly, just how poorly the intelligentsia surrounding movies got this. The Super Mario Brothers movie reviews are in, and they're pretty mixed, wrote Eric Kane of Forbes. Eric Kane, by the way, actually had some good thoughts on this. As of right now, Nintendo and Illumination's The Super Mario Brothers movie is at 56% on Rotten Tomatoes, up from 54. By the way, this article came out earlier, April 4th, okay, so 6 days ago. So you understand, they didn't know what was going to happen yet. But here's the thing, most of the gaming and entertainment critics seem to love the movie. Most of the negative reviews seem to be written by non-gamer critics who don't have a baked-in affection for the games and characters. To me, that suggests that this is a video game adaptation aimed directly at its target audience. If that means some non-gamers and non-Mario fans get lost along the way, so be it. Let me say here, folks, that's not what happened. You don't reach this number with non-gamers and non-Mario fans getting lost. You only reach this number if you have a zeitgeist of a cultural movement happening. This is a massive market, astounding response to something. So everybody's loving this thing. Grace Randolph, discussing the film on her YouTube channel Beyond the Trailer, describes the film as totally inaccessible for non-fans of this Super Mario game from Nintendo. Fans might even have a hard time with the non-existent, antiquated, and somewhat offensive story. Shocking misfire for Illumination. The only bad movie they've ever made, she adds. That word of mouth is gonna be toxic. Well, the only thing that seems to be toxic is poor Grace Randolph, because this movie has just blown the roof off what is possible, but that's not where it's going to stop. It's going to continue with its somewhat offensive and antiquated values in all of these forthcoming movies that are going to be back to back to back to back. And now what all of you have to ask yourselves is, well, if the intelligentsia surrounding cinema had this so wrong, if the critics don't have a clue, then who are we going to listen to? And, well, you know that I'm going to make the pitch that you should be listening to this channel. But you should also listen to other channels because you want to have a well-rounded opinion and hear all kinds of different thoughts. But I simply submit to you that given the track record here, given that you can go click that playlist and look at the rumors and see what's been right, just see what you think. And I think that, well, I have a good idea of what's making Mario so popular. And it's not being some sort of conservative bastion. No, it's being something universal, made by Universal. It's something that people can get behind. It's simple. It's entertaining. The kids can love it. It's action-packed. It's got peaches, for crying out loud. And we're going to get more and more of the fun as time goes on. One last point that I want to make for all of you out there. There may be some concern that, well, Hollywood now will take the Nintendo Cinematic Universe and transform it into something that they want it to be. They'll begin putting their Hollywood values into it. That's not going to happen. You might say, well, why? Why would that not happen? It happens with everything else. Well, this is something that the media is not talking about yet. Nintendo has literally all the leverage here. Nintendo says whether these movies get made or not. And for Hollywood, this is a huge deal, right? It's breaking every single record. It's incredible. It's going to get bigger and bigger, as we said, because it's not in all of the big markets that it should be in and will be in. However, for Nintendo, this is nice. And it'll drive some additional sales, and it'll make those video games go even better off of the shelves. But it's nice. 400 million, 500 million, 600 million, and sure, it'll probably pass $1 billion. But do you know how much Nintendo makes off of Mario games? Well, for just the Nintendo Switch alone, just the Switch, not the other consoles, not the full history of Mario, on just the Switch, Mario games have a revenue of about $9.1 billion. If this movie breaks $1 billion, it will have 1/9 of the total revenue of all the Mario games on Switch. And as a result, that would be something that would transform all of Hollywood. It's something that's revealing that no matter what we see in all the crazy news and government issues and all of the stuff we see with highly divisive content all over the spectrum of personalities and commercials, etc., the market wants sanity. The market wants universal goodness. And that would be really cool to see. But for Nintendo, this is just nice. That means that Nintendo has the leverage because the game market continues to be a juggernaut compared to anything that Hollywood can approach it with. That means Nintendo will continue to get the say because Nintendo is bigger than all the rest. Folks, if you like content like this, consider clicking the like button, share, and subscribe. And you can stick it to the algorithms when you click it. If you would like to drop a comment down below, we would love that. This is not simply one guy talking in an echo chamber. I care about what you think. I'd love to read those thoughts right now. And please, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Make sure to catch The Pro Show Thursdays 5 to 7 Eastern Time. Entertainment Explained, The Culture Curve Conquered, live with Pro and all his friends.